Welcome to my channel Super Rare Coins. Today is best top 3 coins. Please don't skip this video, so let's get it started. The 1971 5-cent coin, more commonly known as the Jefferson nickel, is a product of the enduring coinage tradition of the United States Mint and represents one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the famous Buffalo nickel, and was designed by Felix Schlag, a German-born sculptor whose artistry won a national design contest held by the Utah Treasury. The D mint mark found on the right side of the obverse to the right of Jefferson's portrait, just below the date 1971, signifies that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado. By 1971, the Denver facility had become one of the world's most productive mints, and its Jefferson nickels were essential for meeting the country's coinage demands during a time of rapid population growth, inflation, and expanding consumer activity. The obverse design of the 1971 D nickel features the left-facing bust of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, 1801-1809. And one of the most influential figures in American history. Jefferson's image on this coin is based on the famous 1789 marble bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, one of the most respected neoclassical sculptors of the 18th century. Jefferson's portrait conveys wisdom, dignity, and the intellectual strength of the Enlightenment qualities that shaped his presidency and authorship of the Declaration of Independence. Around the rim of the coin appear the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," on the left, and "Liberty," followed by a small 5-pointed star and the date, 1971, on the right. Schlag's subtle sculpting emphasizes Jefferson's calm expression, his prominent cheekbones, and the flowing hair tied with a ribbon, symbolizing both personal discipline and moral steadfastness. The reverse design displays Jefferson's beloved home Monticello, which stands near Charlottesville, Virginia. The architectural depiction is both a tribute to Jefferson's love for classical design and a representation of American Enlightenment ideals: harmony, proportion, and intellectual refinement. Above the domed building is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, underscoring the unity of the United States despite its diverse origins. Beneath the building appears the name Monticello, the denomination 5 cents, and the issuing authority, United States of America. This layout has remained remarkably consistent for decades, making it one of the most recognizable reverses in used coinage. The lines of Monticello's columns and steps are not only artistic details but also benchmarks for collectors. The visibility of full steps on high-grade strikes is often used as a measure of die quality and precision. In terms of metal composition, the 1971 D Jefferson nickel follows the same standard alloy adopted in 1946 after the end of World War II. Each coin is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded together to form a hard corrosion-resistant metallic surface that maintains its silver-like color without containing any actual silver. This composition gives the coin a weight of 5.00 grams, a diameter of 21.21 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. The choice of a copper-nickel alloy was an engineering decision made in the 19th century and retained for its balance between cost, durability, and machine compatibility, an essential factor for automated vending banking and coin counting systems that were becoming increasingly common during the 1970s. The Denver Mint, where this coin was struck, had a long and proud tradition of coin production. By the time of 1971, located in Colorado's capital city, the Denver Mint was first established as an assay office in 1863 and began full coinage production in 1906. By the 1970s, it was operating as one of the most advanced mints in the world, striking billions of coins annually. The 1971 D 5-cent coin had a mintage of approximately 563,556,000 pieces, making it a high production issue designed for general circulation across the western and central United States. Such a vast number ensured that the 1971 D nickel would be among the most common pocket change coins in America during the early 1970s, a period marked by social change, economic challenges, and rapid technological growth. And historical context, the 1971 D nickel circulated during the presidency of Richard Nixon, a period defined by major events such as the end of the Bretton Woods gold standard, the Vietnam War, and rising inflation. The nickel remained one of the most heavily used coins in daily commerce, essential for vending machines, parking meters, and retail transactions. While the penny and dime were abundant, the 5-cent coin held a unique place in American commerce as both an accessible small denomination coin and a symbol of stability. The Jefferson nickel by this time had become a national fixture, familiar, trusted, and unchanged since its debut 3 decades earlier. From a minting and technical perspective, each 1971 D nickel began as a small round blank punched from large copper nickel sheets. The blanks were annealed, heated to soften the metal, cleaned, and then struck in high-speed presses using dies that engraved the design onto both sides with tremendous precision. Each press applied about 50 tons of pressure, creating a sharp impression of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello's architecture. After striking, the coins were ejected, counted and bagged for shipment to Federal Reserve banks. The Denver Mint's production standards were extremely high, yet due to the massive output, some coins suffered from weak strikes, die fatigue, or contact marks from high-speed handling. In terms of aesthetic and symbolic design, the Jefferson nickel reflects both continuity and classical restraint. Its composition and visual identity remained stable even as other U.S. coins were redesigned or temporarily altered. The Jefferson design emphasized moral strength, wisdom, and the foundations of Republican government. The inclusion of "In God We Trust" reinforced the spiritual values believed to underpin the nation's identity, while "E Pluribus Unum" affirmed unity amidst diversity, two timeless ideals still embodied by this small denomination. The coin's design survived through wars, recessions, and cultural shifts, showing its deep-rooted acceptance among the American people. When viewed through the lens of numismatics, the 1971 5-cent coin is categorized as a common circulation strike with little rarity, yet it remains of interest to collectors due to die varieties and high-grade specimens. In circulated condition, its value equals its face value of 5 cents. But uncirculated examples, particularly those exhibiting full steps on Monticello, can be more valuable in grades of mint state. MS60 MS65 prices typically range from 25 cents to $2, while coins in MS66 MS67 full steps condition may sell for $25 to $150 depending on luster. Strike and surface preservation coins with exceptional brilliance, minimal marks, and fully defined steps are considered the elite of the 1971 D issue and are certified by grading services such as PCGS or NGC. From a symbolic perspective, the 1971 D Jefferson nickel captures both the legacy of America's founding fathers and the technological evolution of 20th century minting. It is both a portrait of one man and a mirror of an era reflecting Jefferson's ideals of liberty and education, as well as the nation's capacity for mass production and industrial excellence. The coin's duality, artistry combined with function, illustrates the perfect balance between tradition and progress that defines American coinage philosophy. Next, the 1984 D 5-cent coin, officially known as the Jefferson nickel, is a classic piece of late 20th century American coinage that carries a legacy spanning over 4 decades by the time of its minting. Struck at the Denver Mint as denoted by the small d mint mark located on the obverse side to the right of Thomas Jefferson's portrait, this coin embodies the enduring stability of U.S. coin design during the 1900s. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and remained in continuous production for nearly 70 years with only minor modifications. The 1984 D issue falls squarely within the modern Jefferson era, the long-running phase before any redesigns or commemorative changes, making it a staple example of everyday American coinage in circulation during the Reagan years. The coin's obverse front features a left-facing bust of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, founding father, and author of the Declaration of Independence. This portrait was designed by Felix Schlag, a German-born American sculptor who won a nationwide design competition in 1938. Schlag's original design was based on the 1789 marble bust of Jefferson, sculpted by the French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon, which is widely regarded as one of the most accurate likenesses of Jefferson. The obverse inscriptions read, "In God We Trust," along the left rim, "Liberty," in elegant script on the right, followed by a small 5-pointed star and the year 1984. Just beneath the date lies the D mint mark representing the Denver Mint in Colorado, where this particular coin was produced. Schlag's design captures Jefferson's thoughtful gaze and strong features symbolizing the intellectual and moral foundation of early American democracy. The reverse backside of the coin features Jefferson's Virginia home Monticello rendered in neoclassical detail. Monticello, meaning little mountain in Italian, was Jefferson's lifelong architectural masterpiece, a building he designed, expanded, and lived in for much of his life. The design shows Monticello's elegant dome and columns, emphasizing the symmetry and Enlightenment ideals that Jefferson admired. Above the building is the Latin motto E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one, reflecting the unity of the states forming one nation. Beneath the image of Monticello appears the name Monticello in bold capital letters, followed by the denomination 5 cents, and at the very bottom, the United States of America. The simplicity of the reverse design mirrors the neoclassical ideals of balance and order both in architecture and in the symbolic order of the Republic itself. The composition of the 1984 D 5-cent coin follows the standard metal formula used for U.S. nickels since 1866, 75% copper and 25% nickel. This alloy gives the coin its distinctive silvery appearance while ensuring durability and resistance to corrosion. The coin weighs 5.00 grams, measures 21.21 millimeters, 0.835 inches in diameter, and has a plain edge smooth without reading. The blend of copper and nickel was specifically chosen to provide the coin with longevity under heavy circulation and to work effectively in vending machines and coin-operated devices. The hardness of the alloy made the Jefferson nickel a durable coin capable of maintaining its features even after years of use. The Denver Mint, responsible for striking the 1984 D issue, has been one of the most prolific mints in U.S. history. Located in Denver, Colorado, it first opened as an assay office in 1863 before becoming a full-fledged branch of the United States Mint in 1906. By the 1980s, it was producing billions of coins annually, equipped with advanced coining presses and automated systems. The 1984 D nickel had an impressive mintage of approximately 496,449,000 coins, meaning nearly 500 million nickels were struck that year for circulation. This enormous production reflected the booming American economy of the early 1980s, when cash transactions were still dominant before the widespread adoption of electronic payments. From a historical perspective, the 1984 D. Jefferson nickel captures a moment in late 20th century American life defined by optimism, industrial growth, and national pride. The coin circulated during the administration of President Ronald Reagan, a period often associated with economic expansion and renewed patriotism. Tea would have passed through countless hands, from gas stations and diners to schools and small-town shops, serving as a silent witness to the everyday economy of the era, despite inflation diminishing its purchasing power. Compared to the mid-20th century, the nickel remained a vital part of U.S. coinage used in vending machines, parking meters, and countless small exchanges that sustained American daily life. In terms of design evolution, the 1984 D issue belongs to the classic Jefferson series that remained unchanged from 1966 until 2003. Although minor adjustments were made to improve die quality and strike sharpness, the overall appearance of Jefferson and Monticello stayed consistent for decades. Collectors often appreciate these 1980s nickels as representatives of the stable and unchanging design period that bridged the gap between early post-war coinage and the artistic modernizations that came in the 2000s. The quality and detail of the 1984 D nickel depend largely on how it was struck and preserved. Circulated coins typically exhibit wear on Jefferson's cheekbone hair, and the dome of Monticello the highest points of the design. Uncirculated examples, however, can show remarkable brilliance, sharp steps on Monticello, and full definition in Jefferson's hair. And coin grading, collectors often seek nickels with the full steps designation on the reverse, meaning that the steps on Monticello are fully visible without interruption, a sign of a strong, precise strike. Full steps nickels from the Denver Mint in 1984 are somewhat scarce, as the high production volume led to many coins being struck from slightly worn dies. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1984 D 5-cent coin is common in circulation and easily found in pocket change. However, in pristine condition, it holds appeal for collectors who specialize in Jefferson nickels. In circulated grades, good to extremely fine, the coin holds only its face value of 5 cents. In uncirculated condition, mint state 6065, it is typically valued between 25 cents and $1.50. Exceptionally well-preserved examples graded MS67 or higher, especially those with full steps, can fetch between $25 and $75 USD, depending on strike quality and luster. Proof versions struck at the San Francisco Mint bearing the S mint mark were not produced in Denver but are collected as part of the broader 1984 nickel series. The symbolism of the Jefferson nickel runs deep within American culture. Thomas Jefferson was not only a president but also a philosopher, inventor, and architect, qualities symbolized by his portrait and home on the coin. His presence on the 5-cent piece since 1938 reflects the nation's enduring admiration for his vision of liberty, democracy, and education. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "E Pluribus Unum," link spiritual faith and national unity, while the depiction of Monticello ties the ideals of architecture, intellect, and personal integrity to the material of everyday life. The minting process at Denver in 1984 involved several precise steps. Blanks made of copper-nickel alloy were punched from large metal sheets, annealed, softened through heat, and then washed and polished. They were fed into high-speed presses that struck each blank with approximately 50 tons of Next, the 1998 D 5-cent coin, commonly known as the Jefferson nickel, is a small yet historically important denomination in United States coinage. Struck at the Denver Mint, indicated by the mint mark D, located on the obverse side to the right of Thomas Jefferson's portrait, this coin belongs to the final years of the 20th century's traditional nickel design. The 1998 D. Jefferson nickel carries forward a design legacy that began in 1938, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. monetary history before being updated in 2004-2006 during the Westward Journey nickel series. The coin's face value is 5 cents, or 1/20th of a dollar, and it forms an essential part of America's everyday commerce and cultural identity. Why 1998? The Jefferson nickel had already been circulating for 60 years, symbolizing both continuity and American heritage. The Denver Mint, represented by the D mint mark, was one of the primary U.S. mints producing nickels during this period. It is located in Denver, Colorado, and began operations as an official branch of the United States Mint in 1906. By 1998, the Denver facility was responsible for striking billions of coins annually for circulation. The mint mark is a key identifying feature for collectors, distinguishing Denver coins from those minted at Philadelphia No mint mark in 1998 and San Francisco S mint mark for proof coins. The 1998 D issue had a high mintage of over 1 billion coins, making it a common yet historically notable example of late 20th century U.S. coinage. The obverse, front, of the 1998 D. Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, 18011-809, the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and a founding father of the nation. This portrait design was created by Felix Schlag, a German-American sculptor who won the 1938 design competition to replace the earlier Buffalo nickel. Schlag's portrait of Jefferson was based on a marble bust by sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon, created in 1789, and regarded as one of the most lifelike representations of Jefferson. Around the rim appear the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," on the left and "Liberty," followed by the date 1998 on the right. The mint mark, D, for Denver appears just below the date. The obverse design represents both classical portraiture and modern simplicity, characteristic of American coinage during the mid-20th century. The reverse back of the coin depicts Jefferson's home, Monticello, located near Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello, meaning Little Mountain in Italian, was Jefferson's lifelong architectural project and one of the most recognizable landmarks of early American history. The design shows the neoclassical building with its dome and columns, beneath which appears the word Monticello in capital letters. Below that is the denomination, 5 cents, and at the bottom edge of the coin is the inscription, United States of America. Across the top rim appears the national motto, E pluribus unum, Latin for, out of many, one. The layout of these reflects the ideal of unity and federal strength, values that Jefferson himself helped shape during the nation's founding era. Schlag's depiction of Monticello has been slightly modified over time to improve clarity and striking quality, but its essence remained unchanged through 2003. The composition of the 1998 D nickel is the same alloy used in U.S. nickels since 1866, 75% copper and 25% nickel. This blend gives the coin its distinctive silvery color and high durability, allowing it to resist corrosion even after decades of circulation. The coin's weight is 5.00 grams, and its diameter measures 21.2 millimeters, 0.835 inches. The edge is plain, without reading, distinguishing it from higher denomination coins like the dime or quarter. The use of the copper-nickel alloy was chosen not for its intrinsic value but for practicality. It balances strength, appearance, and production efficiency. The metallic composition and size of the Jefferson nickel have remained consistent for over 150 years, demonstrating the coin's enduring utility in U.S. commerce. By 1998, the Jefferson nickel had already become a symbol of American stability and tradition. It circulated widely across the United States, used for countless everyday transactions from vending machines and parking meters to school lunches and small purchases. Though inflation had reduced its purchasing power compared to earlier decades, the nickel remained a fixture of the nation's pocket change and a familiar piece of Americana. The 1998 D issue is part of the modern, pre-Westward Journey era. Just a few years before the U.S. Mint launched new reverse designs celebrating the Lewis and Clark expedition in 2004 and 2005. Thus, the 1998 D coin represents the final phase of the original Schlag design before the Jefferson nickel's historic redesign. In terms of production quality, coins from the Denver Mint were known for sharp strikes and good detail during the 1990s. The Mint used advanced presses and improved metal planchets, resulting in well-defined examples of Jefferson's portrait and Monticello. However, because of the very large mintage, the vast majority of 1998 D nickels show minor contact marks or bag abrasions typical of coins struck for mass circulation. Only those preserved in mint sets or freshly taken from original rolls retain full luster and sharp detail, qualifying as mint state MS coins in numismatic grading. From a collector's perspective, the 1998 D 5 cents coin is considered a common date But it holds importance as a type coin representing the final decade of the 20th century. In circulated condition, these coins usually have only face value 5 cents, but in uncirculated grades, they can range from 25 cents to $2 USD, depending on quality. Certified coins graded MS65 or higher by PCGS or NGC can sell for $5 $10, while exceptionally well-struck or fully lustrous pieces in MS67 condition are much scarcer and may reach $50 or more at auction. Proof versions struck at the San Francisco Mint with the S mint mark, especially in deep cameo finish, are also popular among collectors, though distinct from the circulation strike Denver issue. The 1998 D nickel is part of a much broader narrative in American coinage. The Jefferson nickel replaced the Buffalo nickel in 1938 as part of the Mint's effort to modernize U.S. coin designs. Its long-running presence through wars, economic shifts, and social change gave it a kind of national permanence by the 1990s. It was not merely a piece of metal but a reflection of American endurance and identity. Every nickel carried the portrait of a man whose ideals of liberty, education, and democracy still resonated 2 centuries after his presidency. Beyond its monetary function, the Jefferson nickel holds educational and cultural value. The image of Monticello connects everyday Americans to their country's architectural and philosophical foundations. Jefferson's words and ideas helped define the moral and intellectual character of the United States, and his likeness on the coin has introduced generations of Americans to his legacy. The coin's mottos, "In God We Trust," and "E Pluribus Unum," express the national faith in unity and divine providence, while the inclusion of his home reinforces personal responsibility and the virtues of learning and design that Jefferson championed. The Denver Mint, which produced the 1998 D nickel, remains one of the world's largest coin manufacturing facilities. Established during the Colorado Gold Rush era, it evolved from an assay office into a full-scale minting complex that today strikes billions. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.